Hola, SAP developers. Welcome to this session part of the Oktoberfest 2024 integration track. This is our third week, and I'm quite excited about this week because it's all about event-driven integrations and platforms and products and eventing in general. So before we start, please feel free to drop us your questions on the chat window as we will be monitoring it. And we will answer some questions there. We also have a Q&A at the end of the session. So if we are not able to address them over chat, then we will address them at the end of the session. And well, today we have my colleagues Win and Sharon, who are part of the SAP Build team, focusing on the eventing capabilities of SAP Build. And they will share with us basically how we can leverage event-driven architectures in SAP Build. Without any further delay, hola, Win and Sharon, over to you guys.
Thanks, Antonio. So my name is Win Acharya, and I welcome you all for this session today. So today the topic is harnessing SAP S/4HANA events in SAP Build. I am working as a product manager in the SAP Build team, and today I'll walk you through some setups for the events, and Charan will walk you through the use case. So Charan, over to you. Can you please introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. I'm Charan. I'm part of the SAP Build Core Services PM team, and I take care of events. So today with Win, we will learn more about events and what's new. So looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. So let me just start over a small PPT here. So as an introduction, so what are we going to do today as an agenda? So as an introduction, then we will see the setup for S/4HANA Public Cloud and Event Mesh for the build. Then we'll create event projects and consume it in SBPA. Then we will upload also event specifications manually at design time, and then we will see the key takeaways or the blocks that we can refer to later for the session. Now, as an introduction, let me just try to move this. Yes. So as an introduction, how important are business events for LCAP? So when we talk about events and business events, there are different types of events. There could be technical events and there could be business events. So business events are, for example, if you create a sales order, if you create a purchase requisition, if you have an employee hire, okay. So these things emit events in the system. Whenever you create a sales order, an event is emitted in the system. Now, what is LCAP? Is a low code application programming platform. Why it is required? Because we need event-driven architectures. Let's say we need to be real time. We have to respond in real time. Making API call is fine, but responding based on an event is very important. It's also very important to have integration of third-party services via APIs or events to your business processes, and the provision of third-party application access to application logic or data via APIs or events is must. That means if you want to integrate two different systems or multiple systems, then you need to talk to each other via APIs or events, listen to the events and responding and accordingly. Or you can also emit events, or you do some steps that give these events. So all these are very important for your business process. So let me just give a small illustration how it works. Let's say you have an ERP system, for example, SAP S/4HANA public or private cloud, and you have BTP account. Here in the BTP sub account, you have event mesh, and you also have SAP Build Process Automation. In SAP Build Process Automation, you can define an event trigger based on a business event, and also you can define a process. The event trigger is linked to the process, saying, okay, for each of my process, how does it start? You can specify which event trigger it works on. Now, let's say a business event is created in the ERP system. This event, if you're listening to the event and event mesh, you receive this event, and as soon as the event is received, it triggers the relevant business events that are waiting for this event, and the event triggers then start the processes. Okay. Now let's look at a sample user journey. First, what a user will do, they will define or manage the event trigger as a starting point by lobby. So you'll see shortly how this works. Then once you have discovered your event, you have made a project, you have published it, you can also design your process based on what is your business need, deploy the project, and the event trigger is already also available at that time. You can manage your trigger instance on runtime. And let's say after this, we have to just wait for an event. So whenever the event that we need is triggered in the system, let's say from the S/4HANA public cloud in this example, it's triggered in the system, automatically we receive it, and then we start the process. Okay. And what use case are we going to use today? The use case that we want to use today is a credit memo request. So it is called manage credit memo request approvals. And this is the diagram that we have. We can have credit memo requests both for cloud and private cloud and public cloud, both for S4HANA. And you can see in the diagram, the event comes to the event mesh, and from event mesh it comes to the SBPA, where we can have integration with business rule, launchpad, or the work zone, and process visibility. And we also have connectivity service, and we also have identity authentication here. And what is the use case? For example, a credit memo request is a sales document that is mostly used in complaints processing to request credit for customer. It is a part of the sales and distribution for SAP S4HANA public cloud, also in the private cloud. And in this situation, there are some places where we need to calculate the prices if they are incorrect, or if any discounts are not applied, then a credit memo request can be created. It can be automatically blocked for credit checking, and somebody can approve it. For example, you can have an internal approval in S4HANA also, and or also you can have an external approval. Like as of now, we want to trigger an external approval where the approver goes to BTP and approves it. It's not an internal S4 approval. And the credit memo request also is used to create a credit memo. Now, what I am going to explain first is how you create the setup. It's yes, one part is you have defined your event, you have started the process, created a process, you have linked it, deployed it. But before you get the event, the prerequisite step is that you have to connect both your S4HANA system and the BTP system. Okay, so I'm using the way that you can do it through S4HANA Cloud Extensibility, and I'll show you how it is done. So for the first step is you have to register your system with BTP. Then you have to set up the entitlements for your BTP sub account. Third is you have to create the service instances of SAP S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility. The difference is you can do all the steps manually, but if you use SAP S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility, there are few steps that are created automatically. You don't have to go to the event mesh, or you don't have to create these steps on your own in the S/4HANA system. So some steps are automatic, and then you can go to the S/4HANA system and manage your solution. You can enable the topics. Finally, come to the event mesh, create your webhooks, create your queues, and then test the connectivity. Okay, so let me just show the demo. Sorry. Yeah, let me just show the demo here. Yeah. Okay, just let me escape. Yes. Okay, so here is the video. I'm showing a video because yeah, I hope my screen is visible. So this is the first step where we are creating a system and registering system. So first is we are going to the system landscape. I don't know, for me the video is little hazy.
Can
Let's
you?
try.
I think
Yeah.
there's a problem with the resolution. So maybe if you
Yeah.
go to the settings there and select the maximum resolution there. So the quality,
Yeah.
yes, that 180p.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. So yeah,
Okay.
that's better now. So if you
Okay.
go full
Okay.
screen, we should be able to see it better.
Okay. Thank you so much, Antonia. So let me again start. Okay. So this looks better. So as of now, so the first step is we go to the PTP. You can go to the system landscape, and then you can go to the systems. Here, you need to have global account admin privileges to do this step. So if you are not having the privileges, please do request your IT admin to do this on your behalf. You can give a system name. You can give a system type. Here the system type is for HANA Cloud, and you can say add. Okay, and you can select the communication scenario groups. For now, I can say all the communication scenarios, and say get token. This step will generate a token, and we need to copy this token and use it in the next step in the S/4HANA system. So now the first step is done. Now we go to the S/4HANA system. We click on the application maintain extensions on SAP BTP. So here you see all the systems that are listed. Now let's say create a new one. Then you need to copy the integration token that we had in the previous step. Give a description. Maybe you can give the same system name that you had used there so that you can refer to it easily, and say create. The reason I'm showing this recorded video is there are a lot of places where it takes a lot of time to create the instances, to create the subscriptions. So I wanted to eliminate all that time here for a quicker demo. Anyways, the steps are on the same. It just takes more time in a live system. So now you can see here, we are creating the system. It is enabling, the topmost one is enabling, and it is enabled now. You can see. Also in the BTP, we see here the status is registered. Okay, now we can set up our BTP sub account, so we can enable the Cloud Foundry. So this is Cloud Foundry we are enabling. Then you need to create your space. You can give a space name. Yes. So the space is also created successfully now. So we can go to the entitlements now. Now we have to add our service plans that we need. So the first service plan that we will need is SAP S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility. We can click both API access and messaging, add both of them and save. And just we can validate once also later that we have added both. And then we can also go for event mesh. Yeah, default and standard both. Okay, save. So we can check once it's still saving. So it takes some time. You can see here event mesh is added. Both are available. Same, you can check for S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility also. You can see here both are there. Now let's also add the next one, Cloud Foundry runtime. Yeah, this also a service plan is added. So the next step is we can go to S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility, and we need to create a new instance. You can see here the system is pre-filled and the plan is messaging, and you can give the instance name here. Okay. You can give any instance name, just, and in the EM client ID, you need to give a event mesh client ID here. System name is already populated, and say create. Okay. So it takes a while to create this. So meanwhile, we can go and do the next steps. So we can go to event mesh. Here we have default and standard, but we can create, yeah, we can create also a subscription for standard. View subscription, and you can see here event mesh subscription is being created. It's in processing. So already you see here the S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility instance is created. So it takes a while to create both, and here the event mesh also is instance is already created. So you can go back to the S/4HANA system. Once your S/4HANA Cloud Extensibility instance is created, it creates a lot of steps behind the scenes. For example, your channel is created in the S4 system. So you know what is the EM client ID that you have given there, and you can add the same name here, filter it out. There's a specific naming convention that is used, so you can just select the EVT, for example, what we gave, and now in the channel we have to enable the topic. Topic is kind of the event that is mapped to it. For example, credit memo request event is what we're looking for, and we click go to find the event. And so the list will be displayed here, what events are available for the system. We are interested in the created event, credit memo request created. Okay, so I can say create. So the outbound topic is now added. That means the system will now emit the events to this channel. The particular event that we have specified is a credit memo request created event. Okay, so this channel is now emitting this event. Now as the next step, we go back to our BTP, and we go back again to instance and subscriptions. Okay, so we go to the event mesh. And here again, we create an instance for the default plan. And we need to give the JSON. Please note, you should be very careful about the namespaces. This is a different name, and you should give topics. The namespace should be star so that you can get events from the S4 system and then publish it to SBPA. And this is also the roles. You need to have the proper roles, else you cannot access the event mesh um, subscription, the event mesh cockpit here you cannot access. So once these roles are added, you can go back and your instance sorry, in the event mesh, you can see here, you can click on the application and you can see the details. So now the next step is you can go to SAP Build Process Automation, and we need to add a subscription for that as well, because that's where we are developing our applications. You can see the subscription being added, it's being processed here. Okay, and the next step is, again, you can go to the service marketplace and then also create an instance. We need the instance for integration with event mesh for creating the webhook. So here you can see the instance, give it an instance name. Now create, view the instance. Okay, so it is being created now. Yeah, already I think it's already done in the screen. Only the subscription is still active. So now we also need to create a service key. We will bind the service key details to the webhook. Okay, so that is service key is required. And just refresh and see if the service key is created. So all the steps that you see are in processing and all, it takes quite some time on a live system. Because it's a video, I could trim out those waiting times. And the next step is you can create a queue. Note that this is the event mesh instance that we have created. This was not created out of the S4HANA extensibility wizard creation. That is another event mesh instance that is created as well. So the other one that is created from S4HANA extensibility will receive the events, and this will send it back to the SBPA to start the processes. So this is a queue name. It's a simple queue name. You can give anything. Then we have to go to the actions and then create the queue subscriptions. So you can go to the queue subscription and you add your topic. So notice that the namespace is different here. It is of the other instance that is there. So if you go to the webhook now, go to the webhook, create the webhook and give a subscription name. Yeah, quality of services one, you can exempt the handshake or you can keep it. I've just exempted it for now. And this is the key that I was talking about. This is the API that we need to give. Here in the webhook URL, we need to give the API. There are some additional things that we need to give here that is also shown here. Just confirming. Okay, so here we have to give internal /b/v1/events so that it sends the events to SBP. And then this is authentication. We go to the client ID and copy the client ID. This is the service key that we created for the SBPA service instance. And then give the client secret. It's already mentioned here. Just copy the client secret. Okay, then give the token URL. So just copy the URL and enter it and add OAuth /token at the end in the URL. And that's it. Say create. So our webhook is now created. It is paused. Let's just resume it. Okay. Now we can go to the S4 system and see whether we can start the events. This is the S4HANA system. I've already logged in and we are going to create a credit memo request. The example that Charan will be using later on. So here the order type is CR. For credit memo request, the code is CR. This is sales organization, distribution channel, then a division. Okay, then we say continue. So we are choosing a customer for which there is already a credit limit that has been reached. So we can give the same customer details here. Okay, then give reference and give some item material so that it exceeds the credit limit for the customer. Give the target quantity, and we will reject it because we will also trigger an external approval here saying for BTP workflow. Okay, so that means the workflow will be triggered from BTP, and this is a screen that comes when there is a credit check that is failed. Okay, now our job is to check whether this credit memo request has come in or not. So in monitoring in acquired events, you will see a section that is dedicated for business events, and you see here, yes, it has come. So just before that also there was another credit memo request that was created, that is also showing as well. Okay, so that's it from my side. Antonio, there are any questions for me?
No questions so far. But yeah, just
Okay.
a reminder to all viewers to please drop your questions on the chat, and we will address them. Well, there are no questions right now, so we were going to address
Okay.
them some right now, but I will address them at the end of the session. So yeah,
Okay.
no questions.
Okay, Antonio. Thank you. Over to you, Charan.
Yeah, already taken over the screen. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it well.
Yes,
We can see it well.
yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start from the events point of view. So for the events, we're already aware that in the past, events could be directly added in the process builder, but there's been a change from the last quarter. We've introduced events in the lobby. The simple idea or the vision was it's an inspiration from the actions, to be honest. So actions is something that you can curate an API and then you can reuse it a number of times inside the build ecosystem. A similar idea was for the events to create an event experience, to create events in the lobby and to reuse it in the process builder and also in other applications in the future. So the vision is very simple to simplify the experience for the citizen developers to consume business events from the library of curated events. I will show you what it means in the next minutes or so. Some important value items is that it's very similar to actions, so there's not a lot of learning curve that you need to learn. It's very simple, so you can just start, and it should be very easy to use events. It gives you also more information than what the process builder was giving you. So it gives you information about the payload, the output, so you can already decide if this is the right event you're looking for before you even add it. And you can also explore events from multiple sources. That's something that we've already working towards. Just the next slide. So some of the enhancements are previously events only supported the Business Accelerator Hub, that is the S4HANA public events. But with this new change that we've introduced, that we can also support non-S4HANA events, custom events from any application, from a CAP application. I will also show you that how to add a custom event into the SAP Build lobby and then consume it. And then the only criteria is that you need to have a cloud event 1.0 format of specification to get this working. So these are some of the enhancements that the events in the lobby have. This is a simple page where I wanted to just inform you what exactly has changed. I will go to the live demo in a second. So events have a dedicated subpage, meaning that events have a section just like the actions, just below the action section. And it has the same life cycle as all the other projects. And yeah, so let's just jump into the lobby. So you can still see my screen, right, Antonio? Just give me a thumbs up so it's fine. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is the build lobby. And there you go. You have the connectors section where you have an events. So you see events over here. So you can see the events and the project, and there's a special tab that we've introduced on the right-hand side, which gives you more information about who the members and the general information like the LOB tagging can also be directly done from over here. Previously, it was in the publishing tab. Now we've introduced it directly over here, so you can just add more product and LOB information directly on the project level, and then you can also see the versions and the members. So this is something that we've introduced, and otherwise it just looks just like the action, so it's nothing new. To create a new event, so you just have to click on the create button, and there you will see two options today. The first one we will walk through is the Business Accelerator Hub. When you click, it gives you the catalog of all the event objects that are available in the Business Accelerator Hub. So let's look for something which is related to the use case now. So the one we are looking for is already added. So I will just look at another one. So let's say customer returns. So you can see that the object has 3 different events inside. So the object consists of events. So you can see there is a created event, a changed event, and a deleted event. And you can also see what it exactly gives, the output and the header. So in this particular one, it has different headers, and you can also see the subscription also changes here. It's created and deleted. Let's take another example where the outputs are a little bit different. This has only one. Apologies. Let's look at one more, and if not, then we can just already continue. Okay, so here also it's just 2 events, and they're also named as changed and created. Let's go ahead and add this one. So when you click on add, you already see a project dialog window, creation dialog window, where you can change the name. So I will just use a name, and then you create it. And once you create it, you have an editor open. At the moment, we don't have any features where you can edit the event, but in the future, we plan to also change the name of the event, probably also limit the output on the payload, depending on the use case. So this could also be done. This is a plan, but it's for the future. So there's an overview tab where you can look at the tags, the introduction, the long description, if it has any, and then who's shared the project. And if you want to also look more and get more information about the event object itself, you can always click on the view documentation, where you will land on the API Hub page, where you have the event reference. That's the same thing that we've also tried to show in the output and the payload. And there's the event consumption, what are the steps you need to do, and then there is the documents. So all this can be directly accessed via the hyperlink which we provide here. So now for the second one, which is to create an non-S4HANA use case, or let's say custom event. You click on upload, and I've already have a JSON file ready for this one. This is an CAP application where it has an event as a notification, and I'm just going to upload this one. And you see that there is already showing up, and you can also see the information of the output and the payload directly. And you can click on add. By this way, you can also add any custom events into the SAP Build, and then once the S4HANA setup is already complete, like Vince showed, all these can be consumed inside the process builder. So I've just created the upload, the custom event into the build lobby, and let's go back and see if it's already available in the process builder. Yeah, so I'm just going to go to one of the projects, and in the project, let's select a demo process where there's an add trigger. I click on the add trigger, and when you wait for an event, you can see that there is all the events which are already published into the library. Let's look for the exact. So you see here there's the relevant customer identity. That is what is added in the last step, and we added one more, that is the marketing pen permissions changed and created. So you can directly click on add, and it would directly add the event into the process, and that could act as a trigger. There looks to be an error. It's a dev system, so don't mind. It's already working. I've tried it multiple times. It just could be another error. The output is already shown here, and the next steps can be added. You can add an approval step or an action, which is then using this information to pull more information from the S4HANA system. So you could do multiple things when the events are already added. This is the part where I wanted to show how you can add events into the lobby. And now let's jump into the use case. This is the use case which Win has already created for us. we went through the use case. Let's look at it again briefly, and then we can try to run this already. So the first part is that she's already added a credit memo request, which is the same event she added in the S/4HANA system, and she configured a few moments back. You can see that there's a lot of information that comes through from the event. And immediately after the event, there is an API call to the S/4HANA system. Okay, and then with the API call, you also have some inputs you can provide. That's the credit memo request, and the output you can always select the you can select other outputs. So for the determine approver step, you also have an approver that is already set, and inputs you use sales organization as an input, and you have an approve and a reject flow, which is a very simple flow we've used here. A list of steps that happens when an approval is selected, and a list of steps which happens when a reject is selected. On each step, there is a notification sent at the end to the user, and he's informed that the process was approved or rejected. So let's jump into the system now. So this is the S/4HANA system, which Win was using in, and let's use, give it a second. I'm just going to create a credit memo now. Bear with me, the system is a little slow. So I'm going to create a sales. I'll just put this to the side. And like when used, I'm just going to use the same parameters. So I'm going to use a credit memo request. Sales organization is 1710. And distribution channel is 10. Direct sales. And then I use division. That's product division. And I'm just going to click on continue. Over here, let's use the customer. I think it's 110. Yep. And 71. There you go. And then I give a reference. Just going to use an item. 12. And target item is 10. Now I'm just going to click on a reason for rejection. And over here, I'm just going to select the BTP which Win used, because then that is configured to get the event into the build workflow. So I've selected it already, and I'm going to click on save. A little bit. It's compelling that it's already doing the request. You will get an order number over here. We will just check the order number quickly. Yeah, so there you go. It's failed because it's the limit reached already. We're going to click on continue here. And what happens in the background is the S/4HANA is triggering an event already to the workflow. So the workflow is already something that we can look at after this step. So you can see that the workflow would have started, and we will have to approve or reject the workflow depending on what we want to do in this case. It takes a while. Just meanwhile, I can already switch to the build monitoring. Let's just close some of the windows to make it easier. Yeah. In the monitoring, I'm just going to look at the process and the workflow. And there, okay, so there you go. You have the credit memo request. I'm just going to copy it. And then let's go back. And let's see, let's try to display it now. It should say it's in process. There you go. It says it's in approval, so you can't make any changes at the moment. Let's go back to the process where it's already triggered. You can see over here that the task approver is Win. So let's change this for now. So before that, let's also look at the context. So there is this is the plan, this is all the information that we've given. There's also an item so that we added, and the item details are also part of this payload. And now to change the approver, I'm just going to click on and I'm going to assign the approver. That's going to be me this time. I'm going to assign approver. So there you go. It's already changed. Now I'm going to click on process again. And this time around, you can see that I've already changed the approver and it's already pointing towards me. And I'm going to go to the inbox where I should be seeing my request. There I go. I can see the request, the same ID. And over here, I can do what I want. But before this, let's go and check the status in the system as well. So let's gonna go back. Okay, so this is the same order number. I'm going to click on select, continue. And over here, I'm just going to the header section where I can see the status of the memo. Click on status and it says in approval. There you go. Okay, so now let's, in my inbox, I'm just going to say I approve it. So approve. And you can also see the item number and everything over here. You can also see some information. This was also configured in the workflow. I missed to show you this. So there was an approved credit memo form that is also created. So this is the same form that is what you see on the inbox. So you see the item, you see the overall information that what is needed for the approving and the rejection. You see comments, and then you can approve and reject. That's the same form you can see over here. It's the credit memo, the party, the reference, the sales log, the creation date, and whatnot. And then I'm going to approve this already. So let's say approve, and it disappears from the list. And now it's still running. So let's give it a few seconds for it to run. And once it's completed, it already says it's completed. So it means that the information would have reached Win. Win would have received an email at the end of the. So you see the recipient is Win. So Win would have received an email. Unfortunately, we can't show you that. Win already says he's received it now. So to confirm this, let's look at the system. And let's confirm that already. Let's go back and let's try to look at the same order number, status, and status. It's released already. So this means that the entire process was figured and also completed through the build workflow. So this is a short demo we wanted to show. Any questions at the moment? If not, then at least we'll switch back to the. So there are some steps which I've mentioned how to create an event project. I'm going to switch to presenter mode. So there's some steps that I've mentioned how to create an event project from Business Accelerator Hub. Similarly, I've also mentioned steps how you create from an upload specification and this is what I already showed you in the demo. And there are some blogs that you can also refer to for different use cases. So there's a blog which explains about the customer return use case, which Win has written. So you can go through the use case, try it out. If you have any feedback, please feel free to reach out to us. There's also some blogs how to set up the event mesh. There's a blog how you can explore the events from the Business Accelerator Hub. From also for uploading, there's a blog. So we tried to give as much information as possible. What we showed in the demo today is already explained in some of the blogs. So please feel free to have a look at it. And yeah, that's the end of the demo, I should say. Win, do you have something to add before we go to Antonio?
No, Charan, nothing else from my side.
Perfect.
Excellent,
Stop sharing.
excellent. Thank you very much for all that information that you just share with us. We had a couple of questions that I was actually able to answer over the chat, but then
Right.
I'm still going to ask them. They're actually related to to the part that Win showed us before. So
Perfect.
the first question is it, well, I'm just going to ask it as Johannes wrote it. So when do we need to use the BTP service for the S/4HANA extensibility? For me, this service is new and I cannot find it in Discovery Center.
You need to add it, but if you do not have it and you cannot add it, there are manual steps that you can do to get it. I think, Antonio, you already have a video also where you can do the steps manually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, it revolves around once you add an S/4HANA system to your system landscape in your BTP account, then that service is made available to your BTP account. That being
Yes.
said, that service will not be automatically added to your sub
Yes.
account. So that's where your
Yes.
manual steps come in, when you need to assign the appropriate entitlements to the different accounts. But
Yes.
the prerequisite is basically having an S/4HANA cloud system included within your landscape. So that's important.
So all the setup that we showed, most of them are sequential. You cannot skip one step and then go to the next steps. Most of them are sequential and dependent on each other.
Very true. Very
Only
true.
apart from the creating the instances part, almost everything is sequential.
Yes, that's very true. Apart from that, there was another question about filtering of default S/4HANA public cloud events is very restricted. Is it planned to extend the filtering options for the default events? And I provided an answer there as well. We actually have a session later today focusing specifically on how to extend your out-of-the-box events, how to add those what's called extension context attributes in your cloud events, which in the end up those are the fields that you can add for filtering, right? You can add them for filtering, and you can add them also for something that's called to create dynamic topics in SAP Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh. So have a look at that, because that's very powerful. I included the link to the session there on the chat, so make sure to join that. And I would say that you will start hearing more if you are very keen on watching that. There's also, if you watch the developer keynote deconstructed that was part of TechEd 2024, specifically the session Dev 100D. In that session, I presented that, and there was a demo on basically how to create what's called a derived business event and how you can do the filtering and that sort of stuff. So yeah, check that out, Johannes, because I think we will start hearing a lot more. Unfortunately, like at the moment, we don't have that many business objects, which is possible to extend, but I expect that to change in the near future. Like in the end, it's a very powerful mechanism. It's just a matter of time, similar to how at the beginning there were APIs for every single business object. Like you will start seeing way more business objects being exposed this way. There are no other questions, but you know what? I have a lot of questions. So if you don't mind, I would like asking a couple of things. So, and this basically revolves, and just to clarify one thing, I think in one of your slides that you show us, Sharon, you mentioned that all events that SAP, so events to SAP Build Process Automation can be from SAP sources, non-SAP sources, but they all have something in common, and that's the cloud event specification, correct? So
Yes,
they need to
yes.
be, yeah, okay. So in essence, they need to be compliant with the specification, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, good to know.
And also they need to be supported by event mesh at runtime, because
Correct.
even if you design and that doesn't come to event mesh, then you cannot use it.
Now that's something else that I wanted to ask, because for example, so I know that SAP Event Mesh, like the standalone version, right? Like the what was previously called enterprise messaging, the first event-driven offering that SAP had. There's obviously like you can configure the webhook and all that sort of stuff, but also like it is possible to achieve the same with something like SAP Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh, correct?
Yes,
Like
yes,
in the
you
end,
can do that as well.
yeah, okay. So just to clarify then, it is possible to actually send also standard events and custom events via advanced
Yes.
event mesh. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, because I'm very keen on playing around with this. So you mentioned that you were showing us a development environment. So when can we expect this custom events being
I think
available?
it's already live. You should be able to see it in all the platforms because
Yes.
the background of it is if you have already heard from the S/4HANA extension wizard, so it works with the UCL, so it's Unified Customer Landscape.
Yeah.
So it's already connecting to a particular system if needed, and then you can get the event from there. So it also works for the S/4HANA. The UCL part will come soon. I confused you. The upload part should work already, and it should already be available.
Yes.
I
All
might have
these are
told the
already
public.
available.
And
Yeah.
this specification needs to be an async API specification?
I think so, yes.
Yes.
I will just
Okay.
confirm again. Just looking
Okay.
at
Yeah. Because and this is the thing, right? Like for example, in the case of this extension sort of events that you can create in SAP S/4HANA Cloud, you end up generating an async API.
That should
yeah.
be compatible in
it's
S/4HANA
compatible.
Cloud. Even
Yeah.
if you extend it, it should be still compatible.
Yeah.
So example of events that are not compatible probably as of now, in my knowledge, are Concur events. So they are not compatible. So
Okay.
success factors events are compatible even if they're all almost like custom events. S/4HANA, public events, private events, everything is compatible. Even if you extend, then all also should work.
Okay, so in theory, and this is something that I will play around with very shortly for sure. If I have a CAP application that is able to generate cloud events, I am able to post them to SAP Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh, and then I have some
Yes.
sort of specification.
Yes.
I can end up triggering.
Yes.
this
Just
is
upload the spec file and it should work.
Yeah, we also have another other internal team who's already working on such a use case. We looked at it recently, so it's working fine. The
Yeah, it's
same thing
working
what you
for him.
mentioned was working with the CAP
excellent.
application. Yeah.
Exciting. Well, this is exciting, because that was something that was obviously missing from SAP
Yes.
Build Process Automation, and having custom events. Like in the end, that's extremely powerful, because you can end up generating your own events. Nice. I'm looking forward to
Not to
playing
forget
around
the
with it.
criteria with the specification, but otherwise it should be fine.
Yeah. Well, that it needs to follow the cloud event
Cloud
specification, the
events.
payload.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it.
The payload.
That's it.
Yeah. Also, for the viewers, in case you are not familiar with cloud events, which you should all be, I would say. But in case you're not familiar with it, last week we had also a a session specifically about cloud events, which was very
Yes.
exciting. And I'm going to share the link with you guys over chat so that you can check it out. So the session name was Cloud Events for Interoperable Event Systems. So make sure to check it out in case you want to learn more about cloud events, and you'll see that even in that section, for example, it was highlighted how the different SAP products end up using cloud events. So cloud events are everywhere in the SAP world, and as you can see, like this is another example of why it would be great to actually adopt it as a specification for you to actually build your events in your custom applications, because in the end, it's interoperable with, for example, SAP Build Process Automation. And not just that, but also other products, right? So keep that in mind. That's really good. We don't have any more questions. Let me see. Wait. Yeah, I asked all my questions. So thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No,
I think you can
no.
always reach out to us if there's something.
Yes.
So we'll be happy to learn from you
Okay,
and
excellent.
use the feedback.
Excellent. So thank you very much. So yeah, well, thanks Win and Sharon for sharing your knowledge and expertise in this session. And I also want to thank the viewer, be it the ones that were able to join live or through a recording, because these sessions have a long lifespan, I would say. Some are not able to join the live event, so they end up watching the recordings. And just a reminder to everyone that there is plenty for everyone to learn during DevToberfest. whatever topic you're interested in the SAP space. So make sure to check out other sessions that are part of the event. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Antonio.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.